What's up, mother foxers? I got something to show you. How about something big for the 393? Just sitting over there. Let me show you. We got a radiator. And I told you I had something whorish coming. There's the whore hoses. Yes, I found some red ones. How awesome is that? But this is not the big thing for the 393 that I wanted to show you. What I'm about to show you, some people are probably going to make fun of it, but let me explain, okay? So I'm just going to go ahead and do it and show you. Look at that. Yes, those are aluminum heads for the 393 and roller rockers and guide plates. I don't have the studs, so I'll have to get the studs, but y'all are probably maybe seen the brand already. There they are. Yes, they are Speedmaster, and I know some people are going to start flipping out going, oh my god, you bought junk. These are brand new. I got them from a guy who was selling them. He didn't use them. He was going a different route, so now they're mine. And special shout out to Mr. Mach 1, because when I found these online on Marketplace, he was not far from the guy down there in the Detroit area, and he went and picked them up for me. The guy who did this, I'll put his link. I don't want to get his YouTube channel wrong. It's escaping my brain right now. There's so many YouTube channels I watch. But he actually works for Ford Performance. I think he's the guy that goes around, you know, with the tent at, you know, at shows and stuff, and he's at the Ford Performance tent. I'll put a link for his channel on there. I think it's Speedball Racing. I think. Let me I'll check that out later, but real nice guy, real cool dude. And I was talking to him, but he was 20 minutes from Gary's house. Gary went and picked him up for me, so Mr. Mach 1, thank you very much for going and grabbing those. And guys, don't forget to check out Mr. Mach 1's channel. Obviously, he's got that Ford Fairmont, and he's got a 399, so he went a few cubic inches more than me than on here. So, yes, and let me explain something about aluminum heads that I have learned. Okay, these aren't bad heads, guys. These are not bad heads. The one thing that is bad in these heads are those right there. Them springs. Those are coming right out. I'm not even wasting my time with these things. So let me explain what I've learned and what people have taught me about aluminum heads. Alright, so people are going to have their opinions about aluminum heads, but what I have learned, and I've lived it, okay, I bought AFR heads for Black Sunshine, and when I put them on the 306 right out of the box, I took it to the dyno. They dynoed it. I'll see if I can find the dyno sheet for that, a picture of it. But the spike on horsepower went up, then went down, and then went back up again. I thought that was weird, and Tony from Big Dogs wanted to see it, so I showed it to him, and he circled that and said, you have valve float on AFR 165 heads. AFR is a good brand. I said, what is that caused by? He goes, you need heavier springs. I'm like, well, what are these springs supposed to be? He said, those are rated at 140, but we've tested out of the box AFR 165 springs at 115 to 125 pounds. So there you go, right there. AFR, trick flow, you gotta have these things checked, man. I learned that. I lived it. So he put 160 pound springs in mine, and he says you're not gonna have that problem anymore. You shouldn't. So we'll do that to this. I don't know what size springs I need. I'm gonna talk to a couple people, and we're gonna get them put in there. Haven't decided if I'm gonna send these to Big Dogs yet or not. But these are a 210 valve, so pretty good for 393, 351. So yeah, no matter. And then talking to Ford Blue Gauge guys, you know, I hear him mention a lot. Check out his channel too. Um, he told, after he explained all this stuff to me about you never put them out of the box on there, just like Tony said. Don't put any head on your engine right out of the box. You should always have them checked. And after talking to Ford Blue Gauge for a while about it, I said, so what you're saying is you can go out and get a set up Speedmaster, Pro Max, some just cheap aluminum head, and just get them, order them bare, and just put all the hardware in it. He says, absolutely. Because you think about it, guys, I'm sure there's only, you know, a handful of places that actually, you know, cast these things. And what that same place may be pulling out the cast from ProMaster and then putting an AFR cast in it. Yeah, people are gonna have their own opinion on here and probably throw it down there in the comments, but from a couple of reputable people that I trust, that's what they told me. So that's why I had no trepidation here of getting these, because when I saw them, I was like, oh, that's a pretty good, pretty decent price for everything. And I was like, first thing I need to do is change the springs. So, but there they are. We got the big component for this thing. The only thing I got missing so far to put this thing together is pistons, and I'm working on that. I got an intake lined up. I've said his name before. Ford Blue Gauge. I got an intake coming from, not coming from him yet. Him and I got to work the details out on it, but that thing's gonna be. And he said he has a set of pistons, so we'll see what I can do to get that stuff. And then I have everything to put this thing together except the EFI. And let me talk to you a little bit about that. I was thinking initially just going with a Sniper, because the intake that I'm getting is just a carbureted single plane. And I just, you know, I decided I was just going to go with like a Sniper system, just to keep it in the same ecosystem as that. But I mean, to get that, man, for this car, it's going to be $1,200 to $1,500. I don't have that, so I may want to try something different. I don't like doing everything everybody else does. I mean, I got a 308 in this car. How many times you've heard of a 308? You know, I never heard too many people having a 393 in their car until I jumped into the 393 game, and then next thing you know, I'm seeing them everywhere. I guess it's the same thing if you want to, all of a sudden you want to buy a car that's red, and you never see them, then all of a sudden you get one and they're everywhere. You know. But I may want to try something different, because I've looked up a few EFI systems. There's some other ones out there. I mean, Phytech, a lot of people have their opinions about that, whether they're good or bad. I've heard people with plenty of success with them. I've also heard people say they've had, you know, a nightmare issue with them. I've heard the same thing about the Sniper. So I looked up some other things, and one thing I didn't realize, I just happened to stumble upon, was Jegs. Jegs has their own EFI, their own throttle body EFI, and it's pretty cheap. It's pretty affordable. It's around $800, maybe $900, and it's got good reviews. Granted, the reviews are on Jegs' website, but the reviews aren't like terrible. They're pretty decent. I never knew they had them, so I may go that route and buy a Jegs. I was pretty convinced on buying one, and I think I might, but not right now. Not right now. We're gonna call it good for now. I bought these several months ago. I've been sitting on these. I just went to the party at Mob's down in where Mob lives. He lives close to Detroit, and of course Mr. Mach 1 came up to hang out with us, and he brought my heads with me, or with him. So again, thanks Gary, I appreciate that. I really do. That's freaking awesome. I almost didn't know if I was going to get them, because the guy said somebody was coming to look at them when I texted him. And then it was funny because it's fast how things happen on Marketplace, dude. I found those in the middle of the day at my lunch break at work. texted the guy and he goes, I got somebody coming to look at them. I'm like, oh, with that price, they're gonna be gone. I gave up. About, I don't know, 7 o'clock that night, he goes, hey, they never showed up. Are you still interested? I'm like, what? I'm like, well, yeah. Next thing you know, I'm like, well, I gotta get them. I'm 2 hours away from you. And then I was like, let me call Gary. And Gary said, yeah, I'll go pick them up right now. I was not expecting that. So he said, dude, those are new. I'm going to get them. So everything checked out and here they are. So yeah. So pretty cool, man. I mean, like I said, people have their opinions about Speedmaster, but yeah, we'll check and make sure these things are straight. I mean, I know people are like, may say they may not be straight, on there. We'll check them. We'll check them. I know their intakes, I've heard people say they're bad. I don't know. I don't have one. I wasn't looking for one of their intakes. I was actually going to get a cheap one, and if it was warped, I was going to see what we can do to straighten it out or send it back till I got one that was straight. But what I'm getting should be fine. And but there they are. And these are Speedmaster roller rockers, but man, I'll tell you what, man. They don't feel cheap. They do not feel cheap. They feel a little bit lighter than the Scorpions, but they don't feel cheap at all. But like I said, the thing that didn't come with them was the studs for the the guide plates to hold these down. Well, the studs for the roller rockers for the guide plates to hold them down. So I'll have to source those out. But we'll check them and make sure they're straight. We'll get the springs popped out of there. Still haven't made my mind if I want to send them to Tony. It's not something I'm going to do tomorrow or anything, man. So if I wanted to send these to Tony down to Big Dogs, I know I'll be waiting a while. That's fine, because I'm not going to get to this thing anytime soon. So, but there you go, man. How about that, huh? How about that? Pretty cool. We got almost everything we need to build this. The big thing would be the EFI. And with that, all that wiring that I'm putting in here will be coming out. So, I do things more than once, so, but yeah. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I hope this is kind of exciting. It's exciting for me, but yeah, those channels I want you to check out: Speedball Racing, Mr. Mach 1, and Car Mob. Come on, man, you gotta go check out Car Mob. Really good channel, good friend. Just spent the weekend down there with him, had a great time. Car Mob, thanks for having us. Had a great time. Great fireworks. If you guys want to see the end of the fireworks, I do have the live stream still up. Check them out. Pretty cool. We lit up his backyard. Well, I didn't, they did, but it was pretty cool. But anyway, guys, check out those 3 channels and Ford Blue Gauge. And thanks for watching, everybody. We will see you next time. Oh, and before we go, I just want to say something. In the last video, I said how this wire here, I needed another foot. Well, my dad looked at it and he said, you got the wire going around. I said, I know, because I can't turn it the other way because I'd have to go back. There's nowhere to tie it. He goes, I think you can get your length on it. So I turned it, put it back, and I got my length. So that's going to work. The problem is there's not a lot of places to zip tie that thing down there. So I'm going to have to figure that out. But I do got the length on this. And yeah, that'll be interesting to try to do. But anyway, I just wanted to update you on that one. I know this is a talking video, but hey, look at this. Nice shiny aluminum. Later.